Good morning, welcome to Lot 76 Cars and the Italian Car Festival at Brooklands. Hope you enjoy the day. There's some really great exhibits already. Catch up with you later. And first up is a 91-92 Lancia Dedra. These are pretty rare cars these days. I think this was the saloon derivative based on the Delta platform. And in fact, it's probably actually a far rarer car than some of the Ferraris we'll see a bit later. It's in pretty good order. And next up is a Lancia Beta Coupe. This appears to be an 81. Again, this is a real survivor. And it's beautiful in white, isn't it? It's a 1600. Now this next car's come a long way. It's the Italian registered Lancia Fulva from the 60s. I'm not sure about the exact date, I'll need to check that. I believe the platform underpinning the Lancia Thema was shared with contemporary Fiat Chromas and also Saab 9000s of the day. Although badged as Chrysler in the UK, this is in actual fact a rebadged Lancia Delta sold in European markets under the Lancia badge, but not within the UK. And in fact, it was the last time to date the Delta name's been used. Now this is the single most important detail of this car. Study it carefully. Yes, it's a Lancia Thema 832 which is packing a Ferrari engine. Now these are super rare, they were super expensive back in the day, and as you can see it's in absolutely lovely condition. It's survived really well. It looks to be from 99 by the registration if it's not a personalised registration. It's massively understated, and as you can see probably only the rear spoiler gives any indication this vehicle is packing Ferrari power. And next to the Thema we see this lovely Lancia Gamma Coupe in this light gold colour. Again, super rare, but we're guaranteed to see a few of them today, I think, aren't we? And no show would be complete without a Lancia Delta Integrale. This absolute star of the rally stage is a complete and utter legend. Supplied to the UK market only in left-hand drive form. I think there were some right-hand drive conversions, but I did think they lost something during the conversion in terms of the... Another Lancia Delta Integrale, but this time I believe it's the Evolution model, looking at the arches on this one, and it's a relatively late car. Looking at this, probably a 91-92. And for rally fans, a Lancia Delta Integrale Evo, but a full-blown Repsol, which I think is a Spanish fuel company, a full-blown rally car. There's no bad angles on this car, but it's best viewed from the back. Yes, it's a Lancia Aurelia. It's a stunning looking car, and this particular one is in really superb order. From the days when Lancia products had huge influence, if not total influence, from Pininfarina. It's absolutely a beautiful looking car. This one's in superb order. Let's look at the front and maybe we'll have a chance to look inside as well. Wow, isn't this an absolutely beautiful car? What's happened to that Lancia brand? Surely with a heritage like this you could resurrect it. And just as special is the interior. As you can see, that very thin wheel, leather interior, and those chrome seatbelt buckles. Beautiful, isn't it? And just coming into the show now is a Lancia Y10. And yes, it's got that characteristic black painted tailgate that they all came with. Pretty unusual in the day.
Just for you. You might be alright. You might be able to squeeze it in. Those were the...
And this is badged Lancia, but really sold at the time in the UK as a Chrysler, is the Lancia Epsilon. This 74-75, I think, left-hand drive Lancia Fulvia 3, so it's a relatively latish car, I would imagine. Not yet so collectible, but they're surely going to get there, are these Alfa GTVs, these later Tipo platform-based cars. Are really beautiful, and you can pick these up for next to nothing, but unfortunately they're worth next to nothing at the moment. And look at this lovely, lovely leather interior. Oh, and there's even a tiny amount of room in the back. And here's an Alfa GTV, I guess from probably 84, 85. It's badged as a 3.5 litre. I wasn't aware the Busso engine went up to 3.5 litres in this particular car, but I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's been modified. It's a lovely looking car. Apologies for my poor Italian. So it looks like it's a 6-valve Inzioni. That's terrible, isn't it? And yes, it is badged as a 3.5 litre, and it's right-hand drive. Now here's an Alfa 75. These were sold in the UK. I drove one of these around Donington many years ago when new, and was impressed by the handling. Maybe not so much by the styling, but maybe that's mellowed over time. Now we all know about the Ferrari Dino, but this is the lesser known Fiat Dino coupe. And this one's absolutely beautiful. I think it's probably from 67, looking at that plate. Looking like a Ferrari Dino is this Fiat 850, I think Fiat base, Moretti Special. It's an absolutely lovely little car. It's difficult to show you really the size of the car, but if you compare it to something like an Alfa GTV next to it, it's absolutely tiny, isn't it? And here's the real Dino. This one is a beautiful 73, I think probably 74 car in actual fact, looking at the plate. It's lovely, isn't it? That engine's pretty squeezed in there, mid-engine layout as you can see, not an awful lot of room. Can't imagine an oil change is going to be a quick process, can you? And what a snip at 299,990 pounds. 68 Fiat 124 coupe. Sandwiched in the middle is a Lancia Beta Coupe. The VX, I think, signifying that it was supercharged. And finally, another 124 coupe. And this 1964 Fiat Gear Coupe is a local car, and it's in really beautiful order. Purchased locally from Anthony Crook, who was a famous racer in the time. And there's no Fiat badges in sight on this Abarth 2200 Roadster. Again, it couldn't be any other colour but red, could it really, I suppose? Absolutely stunning interior. The colour-coded dash, period radio, and that thin wood rim steering wheel. Can't imagine that's got power steering, can you? And this is an absolutely stunning 64 Alfa Giulia Spider. That's a pretty car, isn't it? With the offset number plate. It's sort of got echoes of MGB up to a certain point, hasn't it? MGB Roadster. Certainly. And here's a beautiful Alfa Romeo Giulietta Sprint. I think this one's open, so we might have the chance to have a close look inside without too many reflections. Let's hope so. Look at that tiny interior. Not too much electric switchgear there, is there? Bit of storage space in the back. And that superb fastback styling. This is a Di Tommaso Mangusta.
Coincidence? Well,
You're not going to see many of these in the UK, I guess. Now this is a more modern Alfa sports car, but no less beautiful. It's an Alfa 8C. Absolutely lovely colour, isn't it? I think this is one that's certainly based on certainly a lot of Ferrari components, but very definitely it's an Alfa Romeo. Another lovely Lancia Fulvia. This one's a H, so I guess it's what, 7071 registered, and it's a UK car, right-hand drive. Now this is a Ferrari 355 fitted with the F1, so-called F1 paddle shift gear change. Probably not quite as desirable as the manual, but they're obviously pretty rare cars these days. Now those of you who follow Harry's Garage will be aware that he's actually restoring a Fulvia at the moment. This one's probably in a better current state of repair, and it looks like it's been stripped for a bit of competition, doesn't it? Successor to the Lancia Y10 we saw before is this Lancia Epsilon, which is their small, I guess, Fiat platform based Lancia. I think Lancia only sell one model now, and that's only in Italy, and in fact it's, I think, Epsilon that's still sold. Now I must confess, the only time I've seen an ISO Grifo is as a corgi toy. I've never actually seen one close up. They were built in very limited numbers by a small Italian coach builder fitted with a 5.7 litre Chevy engine, I believe. This one is beautiful. As you can probably see, this one is a 1972 and it's absolutely beautiful. I don't know how many are in the UK, but there can't be that many. There weren't that many built. Feel commenting below if you do know the exact numbers. I'll have to check. But surprisingly, it is right-hand drive, so it was certainly built for a right-hand drive market. UK, Australia or South Africa come to mind. Look at that, and if you look at the back there, you can actually pick out that it's been signed by the manufacturer, or certainly the people involved in manufacturing the vehicle. Now here's a Di Tommaso Pantera, fitted with a huge American engine, and it probably 7 litres or something, but it's a really distinctive car in that orange. It's not for everybody, but it does look good. And this is a 1980 Lancia Beta HPE. It's 2000 carburetor engine pumping out a heady 115 brake horsepower. It's a lovely looking car and really works in this semi-wagon estate body, doesn't it? But unlike many sports coupes, I guess, aside from maybe a scimitar, this styling really works and makes it a practical sports coupe hatch. Here's a Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. Unfortunately, it's open and we can see it pretty well. It's a right-hand drive car. It's got that fantastic sunroof, and I'm not sure whether that's original, but that quilted leather interior looks really nice. And this one is a 1983 car with a faintly staggering 23,000 miles from new. It's for sale at the moment, and that's going to make somebody a lovely car. And here's a bit of a unicorn. It's a Lancia Beta from around about 1980. Now these Beta saloons, and you can see it's a saloon rather than a hatchback, in fact, as the shape maybe indicates, suffered from horrendous rust problems in the day, even making the headlines of newspapers where engines allegedly fell out. Sadly, this has meant that this car's been a little bit overlooked and so few of them survive, but it is, in this particular car, it's in beautiful condition, isn't it? So the owners invited me to take a look inside, so let's do exactly that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? It's in fantastic order. We've got the Beta symbol, Beta letter in the middle of the dash. We've got the lovely wood-rimmed steering wheel there. switch gear. And look at those toggle switches for some of the consoles there. Now this is I think a 92 or 93 Lancia Delta HF Turbo. I'm quite fortunate, I've actually driven one of these back in the day, and I must admit that the turbo lag is, certainly on the ones I drove, is pretty legendary. Now you put your foot down and the power arrives just as you're hitting the next bend, which can be a bit disconcerting. Very few of these cars left now, and probably a bit overlooked against its integrale brothers. Now that trident can only mean one thing, it's a Maserati, but what's this? In actual fact, named after the South African racing circuit, I believe, is this Maserati Kailami. It's a right-hand drive vehicle, and it was actually supplied new relatively close to the area we were in. I'm not going to take you through each of these cars, except I'm going to have a look at that bi-turbo, I think, towards the end, the red one. Bear with me, we'll go and have a close-up on that. And here's a lovely Maserati bi-turbo convertible. What a clean look that one's got. 4 tailpipes indicates it's probably got a bit more power, and it's got a lovely, beautifully finished leather interior, hasn't it? What a great opportunity to see that with the roof off this car. Now here's a Maserati 3200 GT with the famous boomerang rear lights. I don't know what you think, but let's have a look at the later car next to it. Doesn't quite do it for me, not sure about you. And if you need a bit more practicality with your Maserati, here is a, I think 2010, 2011 Maserati Quattroporte. You've got all the style of the Maserati, but in a bit more practical 4-door package. Now this is a Fiat 850 Sport. What it lacks in CC, it certainly makes up for in character. It's a diminutive little roadster, and it's a lovely looking car, and I guess like most of these were at the time an import. And looking at the registration, it's probably a 71, it's a J registration plate. Now here's one of my favourite cars. I think it's probably a recreation, but it's a good one. It is a Lancia Stratos. These are stunning, as stunning today as they were back in the day. I think they had some connection with the Dino in terms of maybe sharing some of the running gear, but absolutely a homologation special. So let's take a look at the rest of the cars hiding under Concorde. That's quite a parking space, isn't it? At least there's a fair bit of shade as the sun comes out here. Although not officially imported into the UK, I notice a few people have actually brought these in privately. It's a left-hand drive late Lancia Delta. I believe this is the last time the Lancia Delta nameplate was used. Another 124 Spider, this time in that beautiful signal orange. Becoming more collectible and interesting now are these early Panda four-wheel drives. These Panda 4x4 Sizzlers, I think made famous by the one that was used for an adventure on Top Gear. Look a really great car now. That boxy styling really works, doesn't it? And now they're getting some appreciation, probably more collectible. So this is an ex-Swiss Pininfarina coupe built post Fiat days when Pininfarina continued production. It's a later 2 litre from 85, imported about 15 years ago, and it's in lovely condition.
Can I take a photo?
From a time when a 3-door estate car was a thing is this Fiat 128 Break. I'm not sure what the official name was at the time. It's a left-hand drive car, so imported to the UK. It looks like it was manufactured by the plate, probably 70-71. But what a practical body style you've got here with this vehicle. It really works, doesn't it? And the styling is not bad either. I'm not sure if these were officially imported to the UK. This Fiat Barchetta, or Little Boat, as it stands for, translated roughly, and I mean very roughly from Italian, is a left-hand drive, but they were sold in the UK. This is a T, so probably a 99. I believe based on the Punto platform, they're actually a reasonably rare car in the UK, but you can still get hold of them for relatively reasonable money. Here's not one, but two, but in fact three Fiat X19s. The early car is in the middle with the chrome bumpers, and probably we'll take a look at that one first. Let's head there now. Built to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Fiat X19 is this Lido or Lido Special Edition. It's the same owner as the gold one we've just seen, and it was Zybarted from new, which is something that has obviously protected it. It's an earlier car, as you can see, because it's got those chrome bumpers on and some lovely Carello spots or fogs as well. And this one also has a scarcely believable 24,000 miles from new. That registration number FG strikes me as probably a Peterborough registration. I could be wrong, and please feel free to correct me on that one. Going back a generation is this Fiat X19. This particular vehicle is a 1979 later vehicle with the larger bumpers, and it's got a scarcely believable 7,000 miles from new. That's staggering, isn't it? And look at the condition. And this one's a beautifully original car. That gold paintwork, I'm not sure how well it shows on camera here, but it looks absolutely beautiful. These Fiat Panda 100 horsepowers are becoming not only relatively rare, but quite collectible now and appreciated for what they are, which is really great handling little cars and such super value, and values are rising consequently. Never imported into the UK officially, but sold all over Europe, is this Auto Bianchi A112. This is a really unusual vehicle, isn't it? You can certainly see the Fiat influence on the body style through the connection with Fiat, and I'm not quite sure what it reminds me of. That rear tailgate looks a bit maxi, or maybe that's just me. Nevertheless, it's a really interesting vehicle, unusual to see one. And talking of unicorns, here's a proper one. It's a Fiat Uno Turbo. So this, I think, is a 2001 Fiat Brava. Brava being the 5-door and Bravo being the 3-door version. Actually, think about when's the last time you saw one of these on the road. It won't have been for a while, will it? And certainly with those distinctive rear lights, you would pretty much know if you had seen one, wouldn't you? Again, almost getting on for unicorn of the day, this is. So how did Mini get into an Italian car day? Well, there is a reason. It's an actual fact. An Innocenti Mini Cooper built by Innocenti in Italy under license, and it's in lovely condition. I guess the good thing with this car is all those bits probably much are interchangeable. I'm not sure how much is unique to these Italian built Minis. Feel free to comment if you know. Now, it's difficult to know where to start with these Fiat 500s. There are just so many, and these are such cute cars. And here's a little Auto Bianchi estate based on the 500. There is a name for these, I just can't quite remember it. Feel free to comment, it escapes me at the minute. I'll add it to the titles if I remember. And this beautiful blue 500 is absolutely immaculate. Lovely interior. But wait till you see the engine bay. This is definitely worth a video all on its own. Look at the level of preparation with that engine bay. It's absolutely immaculate. Now this one appears to be a bit more accessible. This lovely white Fiat 500 with that fantastic picnic basket on the back. That's how to use all your luggage space effectively, isn't it? Unfortunately, this one is a bit more accessible, so we can see inside. And it's difficult to believe that you could get 4 people, allegedly, in this vehicle. I'm not sure you want to travel too far in it. And another 850 Sport. Lovely. No shortage of Fiat 500s, the new shape one. And yet more and more and more and more Fiat 500s. Now this Zagato unicorn of a car is a Fiat 131 Super Mia Fiori. And it looks pretty original right down to its Carello spotlights. It's a left-hand drive car, so it's obviously come from a sunnier climate, and it's survived really well. Sold in the UK, probably not that many UK cars exist now. Now, when I mentioned the Super Mia Fiori, I didn't expect really that we'd see another one, but this is a seemingly UK car, which must make it the rarest of the rare. It's an A registration, so I guess that's an 83 in that lovely blue metallic colour. Let's go and have a closer look at that one if we can. And this one's a 2000 TC, so a bit more power than the one we saw a little bit earlier, I think. But nevertheless, it's in absolutely fantastic order, isn't it? How did it survive? Maybe this was Zagato as well. A more modern unicorn is this Fiat Punto. This is the rarer GT model. I'm not sure how many Puntos survive full stop, but certainly there can't be too many GTs about. It's in lovely condition, this sort of carmine type red colour. Not a spot of rust on it. Looks absolutely beautiful, doesn't it? And becoming a bit more appreciated now is these Fiat Seicentos, an early one and a later one there as well. I won't even attempt to introduce each one of these cars. There's a Punto or bar for every occasion, although clearly white is the colour of choice here, isn't it? And another Fiat 850, this is a fastback or a coupe. That's a lovely car as well, isn't it? Looks like it's a 70-71 on the J plate, and it's a left-hand drive car, so an import. Again, in beautiful condition. You love those steel wheels with the chrome hubcaps, so of its period, and just looking so right on that vehicle, don't they? So continuing on, we can see an 06 plated Fiat Stilo. Now this successor to the Brava wasn't particularly successful, although it's a fair reflection that the car is in actual fact probably deserved a far better reception than it had. Now this is also a Dino, but it's a later Dino, Dino 308 GT4. Again, a few years ago probably not considered the most desirable, and now actually, like most Ferraris of this period, increasing in popularity and of course value. It's certainly in good order, isn't it? Appears to be from a registration from around about 1979, 1980. And this lovely blue sedan style Ferrari is a 400i in actual fact, from I guess 2001. What a lovely looking car, and I guess the 400 series are becoming a bit more appreciated now.
It's a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a 360 Ferrari, just practicing the roof down. That's worth watching just for that theatre. Doesn't it sound good? Now, I'm not going to attempt to go into detail in areas I don't really understand so much, which is Ferraris. However, I am going to take a look at this Lamborghini Diablo. It's a pity this one's not fired up at the moment because I bet it sounds good. Wow, what a car. And more Ferraris than you can shake a stick at, I think. In fact, I've almost got a 360 degree of Ferraris surrounding me. 360s, 355s, and some unusual colours. Not a lot by today's standard, but this 1984 Mondial is packing a scarcely believable 240 brake horsepower if you think what a hot hatch puts out these days, but certainly back in 1984 it was quick enough. So here's a later 308 Quattro valve Targa. Magnum PI, eat your heart out.
Much nicer than the new ones.
Okay, this is a Lamborghini Urraco. It's on an R plate, so what would that be, 77, 78 perhaps? That's a special looking car, isn't it, guys? I do like that one. Allegedly built by robots, driven by Italians, as somebody once said. This is a Fiat Strada 65 CL. I can't imagine you've seen one of these recently. I haven't. Now this one's even a right-hand drive version, and it's a 3-door, so I guess on every front it must be a pretty rare car these days. And actually and in the yellow corner is a Fiat Punto, or a Cinquecento if you prefer, and another Fiat Uno Turbo. This one I think's a later car, looking at the graphics on the side, if they're original. Probably a 97, something like that. Sorry, 87, I mean, correction. I'm not sure what this diminutive little Fiat Abarth badge car is. I'm going to have to look this one up. I'm stumped. Look at the bubbles in the roof. It's certainly it's a Zagato designed or built car for sure, and it's badged Fiat Abarth 750, so probably a Zagato bodied car, and it looks really lovely, doesn't it? So this is a 67 by the plate Ferrari 330e Roadster, as you can well see. Let's take a closer look. Let's get some shots of this one leaving. I bet it sounds good when they start it up. Probably not a catalyst in sight. So this is the interior, absolutely lovely. Space for a spare wheel in the back. And rear engined, as you can see. But it's got a pair of pop-up lights and the Abarth Scorpion rather. So I know what that is anyway. And in a similar vein, I'm not sure whether this is this is badged as a 1000 Grand Prix and also badged as Abarth. I'm going to have to look these two up, guys. Sorry about that, I'm a bit stumped. And an absolutely lovely Lancia Aprilia. I'm guessing just post-war. I'm not sure about that one. Again, please pop that in the comments. That's an absolutely lovely car, isn't it? And this is a Lancia Fulvia 2C. Quite an unusual colour scheme. Competition colours. Nice looking car. Now this is an Alfa 5M, 5-speed, pretty much unusual in the day because 5-speeds were certainly not as commonplace as they are even 6 speeds now. My family had one of these back in the late 70s. Unfortunately, it didn't survive quite as well as this particular car, which is really beautiful. It's in great order, and these are still a lot of fun to drive today, I'm told. So this, in actual fact, it's not a 5M. The owner tells me it's a Super, but with a few 5M parts. That's in absolutely beautiful order, isn't it? Again, as I mentioned before, that 5-speed gearbox was absolutely unusual at the time. Not over-equipped. Keep fit windows, as you would expect. And here's an absolutely stunning Lamborghini Miura. So anybody who's watched The Italian Job and cried when this one was pushed over the cliff, or did it actually go into the bulldozer? I can't remember. I'll check that one out. What a beautiful, beautiful car. I'm in love with this car. Those characteristic lights with the eyelashes. Oh, this is gorgeous, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? And the car's open, and it's a right-hand drive car. So let's have a look inside. Isn't that a lovely car? I don't care how it drives. I've never driven one. I probably never will. But my word, doesn't it look good? From any angle, really. It's a stunner, isn't it? Now this is a Lancia, and I think a bespoke bodied one. It's a 1966. It's a super Lego, which I'm told, Italians correct me here, is super light. And it's an absolutely beautiful car. Sorry, interrupted by a Ferrari there. Isn't that nice? I'm going to have to look that one up and add that one in the titles as well. I'm struggling a bit with that. Crawling Alfa fans, here's a later Alfa Sud 3-door TI. Relatively late car, this one, 83, 84 I guess, maybe 84. An Alfa GTV next to it. Any ideas what this belongs to? In fact, I do know this one. It's an Alfa Romeo Montreal. What a stunning vehicle. I'm about to get run over looking at this one. The colour's right, the shape's right. Doesn't it look pretty? So it looks like a 72-73 car. It's been imported from the US. It was found in a barn in Pennsylvania, stored right the way from 1992 until 2015, and I'm sure it's had a massive amount of work on it, but it's a super looking car now, isn't it? And an Alfa Spider. Sounds good, doesn't it? At the risk of becoming slightly obsessive, here's another Alfa Sud, and this looks like it's a 77 on an S plate and probably close to the 5M that we had. I'm going to have to check that one out, although it's got the later bumpers on it. I'll have a look at that. What a survivor. To see one, but to see another one. And a GT Junior, I guess. And another Alfa Sud, probably a TI. What a lovely colour that's in. A Spider. Another Spider. There's almost, if you fans of Alfa Romeos, then there's almost something here. Oh, and another Alfa Sud at the end. Wow. And here's an Alfa 155. I think I incorrectly called a 75 a 155 earlier, but this is definitely a 155, guys. And a couple of facelifted Alfa 33s. When did you last see these? And you can see the different rear light treatment on these cars compared with the earlier 33s. And an Alfa Sprint. And this is a Lancia Flaminia, imported from Italy, and you'll recognise some of this styling. It looks fairly familiar as we get round the vehicle, and you'll see why in a second. If it looks reminiscent of the Farina style BMC saloons of the 60s, there's a reason for that, because of the link with the styling houses used. So probably this influenced those. I wasn't quite sure what this was at first. It's definitely a Lancia, but those tail lights reminded me of something, and the owners just told me what that was exactly. So thanks for joining me at the Italian Car Festival at Brooklands. Please like, share and subscribe, and I look forward to joining you on the next one. Thanks for watching.